Magandang hapon, which means good afternoon in Tagalog in the Filipino language, and assalamu alaikum means peace be unto you in Arabic. This is Keith and Kaye, my little Philipina. Kaye couldn't be with us today because she's still in Philippines, but she will be here with us shortly. I'm here today at the African American Museum, which is right there, which is in Los Angeles. And I want to take you through it. So let's go see some history. This is the African American Museum here in Los Angeles at Exposition Park. So let's go in and learn some history. This first exhibit is California-bound slavery on the new frontier. So we're going to step in and take a little look and learn some history. This is some shackles that they shackled the slaves in before they brought them over here to America. They chained them in these type of shackles here. Man, that's, This is a picture back in the gold rush days, back in the 1800s, early during slavery when they had blacks panning for gold for the white man. And if you look down here, here are some of the tools that they use. This is one of the hammers that they use for that, and the pan that they used to pan gold in, and some of the pouches that they kept the gold in. There's a little simulation of gold nuggets sitting right there. Here are two African American slaves that were back in slavery. They might have been the house slaves. You know, they had the field niggers and they had the house niggers. By the way they're dressed, they look like they might have been the field ones. But that's just how some of them look. Here's another picture of some slaves that were back there during that time. This is how they treat fugitive slaves, or runaway slaves, if you will. You can see the white man raising his fist, ready to slap the mess out of a slave, and you see them being kicked on the ground. Such mass, harsh treatment that they suffered during that period in history. This is a fugitive slave in 1856 being captured. And you can see the woman on the ground begging for his mercy. But you can bet they were going to tie him up somewhere and give him all type of lashes, all type of beatings. This is Biddy Mason, who was born into slavery in the 1818, and she has a strong history behind her. You can Google her name, Biddy Mason, and can see the history of this woman. This is one of the whips that they use to whip the slaves, give them lashes when they caught them getting out of order, or if they recapture them, or if they weren't working as hard as they want them to work, they'd whoop them with this whip right here on their backs. They suffered some mass treatment during that time, some harsh treatment. Many of them were killed. This is during the Civil War period. Many blacks enlisted into that war to help fight the South during that time.
Authorizes President Abraham Lincoln to increase the current size of the volunteer army to 500,000 men.
Lincoln was faced with the necessity of keeping the Union together. So the first and foremost goal he had at that point was to preserve the Union and the slavery had.
This is a picture during the Civil Rights Movement in the 60s. You can see all the great black men that participated in that series. It was Martin Luther King, I see Tom Bradley in the back, and many others. And you can hear his voice in the background. You can see how we were treated during the Civil Rights days back in the early 60s. We were beaten. All schools were segregated down in the South. They had to be escorted by National Guard. They were taunted by the white establishment.
Segregation is wrong because it is nothing but a system of adultery perpetuated by an illicit intercourse between injustice and immorality. This is what it is saying.
This is the chair used by Martin Luther King back in 1960. This is his chair. This is the Pruett Room. This is the Cheney Royal Flush Room, and you can see some of the paintings that they have on here, painted by Afro-Americans. Good artwork that they've done, beautiful artwork. Beautiful paintings. All done by African Americans. Award-winning paintings. Well, that's our little tour of the Afro-American Museum. It's a lot of history in there. I didn't get a chance to cover it all, but in later videos I will do that. But I had a great time learning, seeing, understanding a lot of Afro-American history. So until then, I'll see you again. Please subscribe below. And have a good day.